Coming.
So this was a really special time at the Proving Grounds. We hadn't been out in about 5 months. We really suspended bringing patrons out. We were really focused on 2 other locations at Ryan's Rowdy Ranch and Academy in Moyock, but we're really excited to get back out onto the trails. This is a beautiful day for wheeling. I think the high was about 94 degrees with low humidity, and people were just excited to get back out onto the trails out here. We had a pretty good variety of vehicles, from the TJ that you see here on the screen to the JL behind it, and then we had a couple of Chevy Colorados. I believe they're called Trail Bosses, but you'll get some footage of those coming shortly. So what you guys are looking at here is an obstacle that we affectionately call Mount Flexmore. So we have this Billy Goat TJ coming up, and what's always interesting about this obstacle with these with any vehicle really is it responds so differently depending on your tire size, your wheelbase, and this particular Jeep just so happens to be a manual. So you see me going up to the driver right now and really talking to her and letting her know what's about to happen, mostly because she told me she was brand new to wheeling, and just letting her know this is really kind of more of an advanced situation and giving her an idea of what to expect. You'll see me in the video talking about making sure that she has her lockers on and just getting ready for what's coming. It was always surprising at this point right here is a lot of new wheelers, no offense to her, but people's instinct is to press the gas pedal when they stop. But in a situation like this, it's really important to keep your momentum. So the idea is to establish your speed in the beginning, and you'll see me explaining this to her right now, but you establish your speed in the beginning and then you carry that speed through the obstacle. So what's happening is as she comes forward, that tire that's on the ground as an obstacle is getting caught up on her rear diff. You'll see it there. But you see, as she was able to carry momentum through the obstacle, she was able to get up and do that. And again, I'll remind you, she's wheeling in a manual, which is very tough. So a lot of keyboard warriors at home and say, "Oh man, like why is she doing so much wheel speed?" Well, she needs the torque and the horsepower, and she doesn't want to burn up the clutch. So she's doing a pretty good job catching herself and hitting the clutch and braking. So it was really cool to see these Chevy Colorados out here wheeling. What's really different about these trucks is that they have independent front suspension and independent rear suspension. So you'll notice that their flex is nowhere near what the solid axle vehicles are, but all things considered, they were really impressive as far as what they could do. You can imagine if they were climbing up a rock on the trail going up, they'd really be able to get up and over some pretty steep obstacles. And with these trucks being so brand new, they had a hard time finding rock sliders. So I always love this obstacle. I warn every patron that comes out that all the obstacles on the ground are cylindrical. So I tell everybody to make sure they stay in four-wheel drive low. If they have lockers, turn them on. And even though it just looks like a bunch of cylinders laying on the ground, it's actually surprising how much those obstacles will come up and scrape your differential or scrape your frame rails. So I warn anybody that has a really nice vehicle, and really everybody, regardless of the condition of the vehicle, that hey, this looks very unassuming, but be careful when you get up here and take your time and take it slow. So Kimberly here is doing a great job in the JLU Rubicon. I think this is her first time on the obstacle, and her husband Mike's doing a great job calling her out and telling her where the tires need to be, because when you're driving you can only see one side, so the person outside spotting is really important to tell you where to go and where your tires are on the other side and behind you.
Look at that. You're down. Yeah, you gotta give it a little to get out of there.
So this is one of my favorite obstacles. We call it McLockness because the tires were donated by McCarthy Tire in Norfolk, Virginia. Not only were the tires donated, but he actually sketched out the obstacle on a drawing and sent it over to me before he sent the tires and gave me a heads up of what his thoughts were. So I really appreciated Kevin over there at McCarthy Tire doing that. But I designed this obstacle to really simulate a rock crawl. I put the tires at 61 inches on the center, so most SUVs are a really good fit across the obstacle. And even though it looks unassuming on camera, I actually did put a slight curve on it, so it's not just straight up and over. So you need to be conscious and wary of where your rear tires are as you come across the obstacle. And I tell all the patrons that come out that this is really more of an advanced obstacle. I mean, you really should have, you know, pretty jacked up suspension, obviously taller tires to be able to get over the obstacle, and lockers are a huge help. I don't know that I've seen any vehicle get over it with open differentials. And you notice Derek here, he actually slipped out of four-wheel drive, so I called out to him, let him know, like, hey, your front tires aren't spinning. And then I also pointed out his rear wheel, because what I asked the drivers to do here is to keep an eye on their driver's side. And if their driver's side is okay, generally their passenger side is okay. So I'll keep an eye on their rear and the passenger. So you see me ducking down and watching his rear tires and his backside, what he can't see. And he came up and over, and especially for manual, JP did a great job. So here we have the Chevy Colorado Trail Boss again. I actually wasn't part of this. We have a good friend of ours named Sam doing some spotting for these guys. I think I was actually playing on the other obstacle with my Jeep because I just did some upgrades, but you see him guiding him up to Big Mama is what we call that tire in the ground there. And what's the reason why he's bringing him the way he is because he wants to avoid the front bumper as that truck climbs up on the tire. It's really all about getting out to that outside edge, you know, for that reason, as well as the further they are out to the side of the tire, the more stability they have when they climb the obstacle. So great job, Sam, and thanks for the help on that, and great job to the Colorado driver as well. This is a really popular pose for our patrons. It really shows what their vehicles are capable of when they're flexing. So a lot of times, you know, we'll actually encourage the patron to put their vehicle in park and jump out, and they can see all the different angles and see how much their tires are getting shoved up into the wheel wells, or see what are the upgrades they want to do, or they just got new tires. It shows all the clearance, but just, you know, really shows them what their vehicle is capable of. So this is one of our newest obstacles. A good friend of mine named Chris McCrory, you know, got all the parts for this, welded all these stairs together, and really created an obstacle with his own ingenuity. But, you know, I warn all the drivers when they come out here and they want to get up on this that it's not, you know, grounded or stabilized to the ground. So it's really important that they have a good full contact when they get up on this obstacle. So you can see Mike really getting himself lined up and make sure he has a good stable footing as he climbs. This is definitely an obstacle where you need to have lockers, likely front and rear, and a good amount of confidence as a driver and knowing the seat feel. Because as you get towards the top of the steps where Mike is right now, it gets really hairy. Your vehicle center of mass is high, so you have a really high propensity for rollover. And I think Mike is actually the first Jeep driver or patron at all to be able to hit the top. He does have metal cloak suspension on his Jeep, and every one of the vehicles that I've seen come out to the proving grounds that have metal cloak suspension has really impressed me, and this is no exception. So you'll see Mike, you know, getting some feedback from the people standing by, making sure that, you know, what he's doing is okay. And then shortly here, you'll hear me start telling him to turn driver. And the reason why I'm telling him to turn driver is because I'm watching his rear tire, and his rear tire is a bit more passenger than it needs to be. So turning driver is going to keep his rear tire on the obstacle, because I didn't want him to fall off and scrape up his beautiful body there. So he's doing a great job watching his tires. He's doing a great job watching the spotter, getting feedback. Yep, so tell him to turn driver there to keep his rear tire up.
Driver turn as you come forward.
Doing a great job with situational awareness. And that noise that you hear is actually his brakes. He's doing a great job holding the brakes down and just letting his engine creep and crawl and let gravity do the work in a very safe and controlled manner. Mike actually does have a professional driving background. He used to race cars, so it really shows when he's going up and over this obstacle. This is a really impressive feat. There's not very many vehicles that can do this, but you know, all the patrons that come out, as they come out and they upgrade, it's nice for them to be able to see, well, I made it to the fourth step last time. I just put some new tires and new suspension on, Let me see if I can make it to the next step or even get up and over. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to come out and wheel with us, please head over to W2Wparks.com to book your ticket for one of our events. I look forward to seeing you guys all at our next venue. Be sure to like this video, share this video with your friends, and comment any questions or concerns you have below. Thanks.